The pine pitch is what tells you. Wet ash first, dense and cold in the doorway. Then, underneath it, the sharp resinous overtone that no ordinary fire leaves behind. You crouch, you press the two fingers to the charred board and bring them to your nose, amber residue on the whirls of your skin. Someone did this on purpose, you already know. This is a centurion of the fourth cohort of the Vigiles of Rome. By the time the sun sets, you will have filed a wax tablet naming the 17th suspected arson in 8 months. You will have walked home past 6-story wooden tenements in the summer wind. And you will have slept without knowing that in 13 months, this city will burn to the ground. Everything you have been told about this day is incomplete. Today, we decode the real one. Rome, June of the year 63 in the Common Era, the 9th regnal year of the Emperor Nero. The city is the largest in the ancient world and one of the most flammable ever built. Approximately 1 million people live inside its walls. They are packed into roughly 14 square kilometers of narrow streets. That is the highest population density any city on Earth has ever reached before the industrial age. Most of them do not live in marble. The Forum is marble, the temples are marble. The Palatine, where the emperor sleeps, is marble. Everything else is wood. The tenement blocks are called insulae. They rise 5 and 6, and sometimes 7 stories high, timber-framed and plaster-faced, standing wall to wall, along streets you can cross with 2 long steps. They lean into each other above your head. When one catches, 3 catch. The city knows this. The city has known this for 100 years. And so, in the year 6 of the Common Era, the Emperor Augustus founded a standing corps to hold the fire back. The cohortes vigilum, 7 cohorts, 1,000 men each, 7,000 men in total, distributed across the 14 precinct districts of the city. Fire brigade, night patrol, investigating bureau, all in one uniform. And in a barracks in Regio 7, a junior officer of the 4th cohort is on his way to the 3rd tenement fire of the week. The barracks room is small and low-ceilinged, a wooden table, an oil lamp already lit, a shuttered window that will not open until the sun clears the wall. You are standing. You have not sat down since you came in. In your right hand is a clay cup of posca, soldier's water cut with soured wine, sharp and slightly sweet on the back of the tongue. In your left hand is the night log. The night log is a wax tablet, wooden frame the length of your forearm, 2 panels hinged together, tied with linen cord and stamped with the cohort seal in beeswax. You have opened it against the flat of your palm. The wax inside is the color of old honey. The stylus scratches from the night watch are dark where the pressure was heavy and pale where the pressure was light. 3 fires reported overnight. A knocked-over lamp in a bakery on the Aventine, a chimney fire in a laundress's shop near the Circus Flaminius, and a tenement fire in the Subura. You read the 3rd entry twice. The outgoing officer is standing in the doorway. He is a sesquiplicarius, deputy watch, 36 years old, 1 broken tooth, the same wool cloak he has worn all winter. He does not speak. He walks to the table. He puts his own night log down beside yours. He taps the wax twice over the entry marked Subura. He walks out. You drink the last of the posca. You close the tablet. You tie the cord. 2 taps on a wax tablet. That is how the 4th cohort of the Vigiles of Rome tells one of its officers that the case waiting for him today is not an accident. The Subura is 3 streets east of the barracks. You do not need to ask the way. You have been to this district on fire calls 12 times this year already. The tenement is on a corner. 5 stories of timber and plaster blackened along the ground floor, the upper floors untouched. That is the first thing that tells you. Ordinary fires climb. This one stayed low. You walk in through the doorway you crouched in earlier. 2 subordinates follow. Behind them, the questionarius, the investigating officer of the cohort, his wooden stylus case tied at his belt. He is early 30s, career administrator, faster with a wax tablet than any officer under this roof. You know this without thinking about it. The ground floor has 4 separate points of scorching. None of them is near a lamp bracket. None of them is near a hearth. You count them out loud so the questionarius can hear. Point 1, north wall by the doorway. Point 2, center of the room. Point 3, southeast corner. Point 4, the base of the stairwell. You crouch by point 3 and scrape the charred board with a bronze blade. The residue rolls between your fingers, sticky and dark amber. Pine pitch, deliberate, placed by hand and set to burn. The landlord's rooms are on the 2nd floor, untouched by the fire. His door is closed. A neighbor across the street saw him loading a cart at dusk yesterday. He has not been seen since. The questionarius opens a fresh wax tablet against the flat of his forearm. He unties the stylus. He looks at you. You dictate. Date, precinct, address, ignition pattern, accelerant type, absent party. You do not know it yet, but this tablet, this one, dictated in a burned tenement in the Subura on a June morning, is the 17th of its kind you have authorized in 8 months. You will find that out in an hour back at the cohort office when the archive is opened. Still with me? Good. What you're watching this man do right now in a burned tenement on a June morning is the exact template that another officer of this same cohort will use 13 months from now when the largest arson investigation in the ancient world walks through the door. History kept the fire. History lost the file. Subscribe to Decoded by Jack. Stay with me. The walk back to the cohort office takes 15 minutes. You do not speak. The questionarius carries the fresh tablet against his chest, cord not yet tied. The office is a long room off the central courtyard of the barracks. 1 wooden table down the middle, lamp brackets on both walls, and along the back wall, floor to ceiling, the archive shelves. The questionarius crosses to the shelves. He knows what you are about to ask him. He begins pulling tablets. 8 months back. Absentee landlord disputes. Ignition patterns consistent with pitch or oil. He lays them on the table in rows. 4 across, 4 down. He lays down a 5th row. He stops. You walk over, you count. 16 tablets on the table. In your hand, the 17th. 16 tenement fires in 8 months, all within a 2-mile radius of where you are standing, all in absentee landlord disputes, all with ignition patterns the questionarius has just aligned in front of you like teeth in a jaw. You count them again. 16. You lay the 17th at the end of the row. The wax on the new tablet is still soft at the edge where the stylus finished. You take the cohort seal from the shelf above the table. You press it into the beeswax. The seal sinks in. You lift it. The impression holds. You tie the linen cord. You carry the tablet down the corridor to the office of the Praefectus Vigilum, the commanding officer of the 4th cohort. You knock. You go in. You do not raise your voice. You say 4 words. There is a pattern. The prefect nods. The report will be forwarded to the urban prefect in the morning. You walk out of the office. It is late afternoon. The wind off the campus Martius has picked up, and every wooden insula you pass on the walk home is one summer wind away from something you cannot yet imagine. The walk is 1.5 miles, Regio 7 to Regio 9. You cut west of the Forum, south of the campus Martius, and into the streets where the insulae start to lean. The wind is dry and hot on your neck. The padded leather cap of the Galea presses against your forehead. You have been in helmet since dawn. The wool inside the cap is damp with sweat. The metal above it is warm to the touch and going warmer. You do not think about the pattern. You do not think about the 17th tablet. You do not think about the prefect. You think about lentils. The freedwoman keeps a small room off a bakery courtyard in Regio 9. She keeps bread and lentils and warm well water for you on the day she knows you are coming. She knew you were coming today. The bread is on the table when you sit down. The lentils are in a clay bowl beside it. There is a second cup of well water for after. You eat. You do not talk about the case. She does not ask. She watches you eat, and she takes the empty bowl and she goes out to the courtyard to wash it. You unlace the Galea. You put it on the floor by the door. The straw mattress is against the far wall. You lie down on your back. Above you, the insula creaks. 5 stories of wood and plaster and lamp oil and sleeping people, shifting in the summer wind. It is the 10th day of June. In the 9th year of Nero, the city is a tinderbox. That is your day. Now let me tell you what the historians did not lose about it, and what they did. Decoded. Number 1. Rome had a standing fire and police corps of 7,000 men. London did not match it until 1866. Here is what you were probably taught, if you were taught anything. Ancient cities burned because ancient cities had no fire brigades. Firefighting was invented in London in the 17th century by insurance companies. Before that, everyone just watched their neighborhood burn. None of that is true, and the truth is far better. In the year 6 of the Common Era, the Emperor Augustus stood up a permanent standing corps to fight fire and patrol the night streets of the city. 7 cohorts, 1,000 men each, distributed across 14 precinct districts. It was called the Cohortus Vigilum, the Watchman. They operated continuously for about 500 years, the first city in modern Europe to match that scale of professional fire response was London. The year was 1866. Rome had beat them by more than 18 centuries. Decoded. Number 2. The reports were filed on wax. Some of the wax survived. The tablet you watched him seal today was called a tabula carata. Wooden frame, 2 panels, beeswax poured into the recess, a stylus, a linen cord, a stamp. Every incident report the Vigiles ever filed used a version of this object. Date, precinct, address, type of incident, response deployed, damages, suspects, absent parties. The format was fixed, and it was standardized across all 7 cohorts. 16 years after the day you just watched, a volcano called Vesuvius erupted on the bay south of Naples. It buried a small Roman town called Herculaneum in 20 meters of pyroclastic material. Volcanic rock preserves what fire destroys. Some of the wax tablets in Herculaneum on that afternoon in the year 79 were carbonized instead of consumed. They still exist. They are catalogued and dated by consular year, and you can go and see them behind glass at the Museo Archeologico Nazionale in Naples. They are the closest object we have to a Roman police report. Decoded. Number 3. The Great Fire of Rome was a criminal investigation. History kept the fire and lost the file. 13 months from the day you just watched, on the night of the 18th of July, in the year 64, a fire started in the shops around the Circus Maximus. Modern scholarship treats the initial blaze as almost certainly accidental. What happened next was not. The Vigiles were on the scene from the first hour, all 7 cohorts. The historian Tacitus, writing about it 50 years later from the Roman senatorial archives, recorded what they found. Multiple secondary points of ignition appearing across the city as the fire spread. Men who, in his own words, openly hurled brands into buildings, efforts to extinguish the fire physically prevented by organized groups. Rome had the exact apparatus in place to investigate this, the same cohorts, the same tabula serrata, the same cross-reference protocol. You watched a single centurion apply to one absent landlord on a June morning, applied at civilizational scale to the largest urban disaster of the ancient world. A formal criminal investigation followed. The Emperor Nero blamed a small religious sect, executed some of them, and Tacitus recorded in the same paragraph that he did not believe the charge. The file is lost. The Vigiles case tablets from the summer of 64 do not survive. What survives is Tacitus, who saw the imperial archives and reported what was in them. You lie on the straw mattress in a small room off a bakery courtyard in Regio 9. Above you, the insula creaks in the summer wind. You do not know your city has 13 months. Your name is lost. The landlord's name is lost. The 17 tablets you filed that summer are lost. The Vigiles case tablets from the summer of 64 are lost. The largest arson investigation in the ancient world was conducted, filed, and forgotten. The point is not who set the fire. The point is that the biggest fire in the ancient world was not a spectacle. It was a case. The apparatus that would have solved it existed, operated, and filed. What Europe would spend the next 18 centuries reinventing was already at work in Rome on the night the city burned. The file is gone. The format is not gone. 16 years and 1 month from tonight, a volcano south of Naples will carbonize a wax tablet in a room in Herculaneum. Wooden frame, 2 panels, beeswax, a stylus scratch, a cohort seal still faintly visible. It survives inside a glass case at the Museo Archeologico Nazionale. If you know how to read the wax, you can still see the date, you can still see the precinct, you can still see the pattern. You did your work. The wax remembers.